Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 138. We're a podcast that talks about pop culture things that interest us, and sometimes there's a whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined after a brief hiatus by Andrea. How's it going?
Good. It's great to be back after my brief hiatus.
Yes, it's good to have you back. For those watching, we have another guest, first-time guest, big-time YouTuber. You guys all should know him. He's also
Big
now
time,
a newly...
right.
He's also now a new comic book creator. So we're going to be talking about that later. But you probably know him as Drunk3PO. Welcome, Jay.
Yeah, you can call me Jay. Yeah. Such a weird name, you know? It's like, especially when your mom's like, why do you call yourself that? That's terrible, son. It's like, it's a long story. Such a long story.
I was telling my family that you're going to be on, and I think, too, they were like, is this guy just known for drinking a lot? I don't know.
I mean, it's awful. I don't even drink that much. I don't even drink that. Well, the story is like...
I was going to say, we need a story now, now that we've built up the hype of the name.
The story is when I wanted to do like a different hobby, and a friend of mine was like, hey man, make it like a YouTube channel and we do like a Star Wars podcast on Friday nights. And this was like right after The Last Jedi came out, and they were like, but we all got stupid silly Star Wars names, right? And so I'm like looking at their names, and you know, it was like Buzzed R2 and like all these things. So I was like, they're like, take two things that are like opposite and put it together, and I'm like, I don't even know. So I just thought like a drunk C3PO would be kind of funny, kind of off.
He'd loosen up. He
would loosen up. I'd probably want to hang out with him, right? So I just kind of put that together. So it like started as a joke, and then after doing that podcast it was just like a hangout. It was really cool. I really loved those days because there was like one person in the chat the whole time, and it was awesome. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It was my first introduction to this crazy world.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, Jay, you should make a video and talk about it, make a vid. I'm like, I don't know how to do that stuff. And sure enough, I was like, all right. So what happened was, since I live in Orlando near Disney, the perfect opportunity for me hit was they started building Galaxy's Edge at the time. And I had several friends that were working on the construction, the lighting, the things like that were working at the park, and they were just feeding me information. So my YouTube channel started primarily about talking about like the inside scoops of Galaxy's Edge.
Nice.
And so the channel kind of exploded. The worst part about that was I was the first one. I remember I had like 50 subscribers, maybe 55. And I did a video about how Luke and Leia and Han and all these will not be in Galaxy's Edge, and that video went a little crazy, and it got a lot of hate because people thought I was crazy. They're like, this guy's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about, this guy is dumb. And that video really took off, and I remember that was the first time I was getting like hate comments, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? And tons of downvotes. I think that video, it was sitting on like 70% with like and dislike, which is really, that's pretty bad. And but everything came out to be true, and none of them
showed them all.
None of them came back and said sorry.
What? No,
but I kept making a video. But what crazy was
I thought you noticed.
Yes, because bigger Star Wars channels and theme park channels, like big ones that had like millions of followers, like they were watching my video, like, how does this guy know this stuff? So they thought I worked for Disney. They thought I worked like stuff like that. They thought, you know, I had something going on at first, but so that kind of skyrocketed me pretty quickly because while everybody else was kind of following a lot of pop culture stuff, I was like just talking about Galaxy's Edge a little bit. And when they announced that like Luke and Leia and Han would not be in it. I just was like, this place is gonna stink, man. Like, where's Vader? Where's all that? Like, where is all that stuff? And they're like, it's not gonna be there. So that kind of aggravated me as a Star Wars fan. It's like I want to see Star Wars at the Star Wars land. So
yeah, who couldn't be hyped for that? I remember. Yeah, I remember with the like, oh, Star Wars World, you're gonna be able to go for a whole experience, stay on some sort of thing, and live out kind of a whatever. I thought I'm not gonna go to Disney until that's done because that'll be the thing I want to see. And yeah, when you don't include, how could you not? If you want to have a whole thing with your new trilogy, how would you not just have 3 zones or something to represent each trilogy? Like it just all seems like a obvious home run with all the content you have available.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a grand slam. Well, originally they were making 3. They were making like a prequel area and an original area and a sequel area and all that stuff. And then it just right in the middle, they totally had this grand idea to keep it in the Last Jedi time period. So it's like, if you don't know, Galaxy's Edge is the only IP in all of Disney. No other IPs that they own in those theme parks do this. It's a time period between the end of The Last Jedi, right before the beginning of Rise of Skywalker. So whatever character was alive in that time period, that's what's in the park. They realized that they really goofed up with that. And so now, like, way off into the corner now, like, they'll sneak Mando and, like, Grogu. Like, they're like, if you want to see him, he's, like, way over there. Like, he's not really in the park. He doesn't break our timeline, but he's, like, way over there. And it's like, come on, man. Like, people don't care. Right. They just want to see their heroes, man. They want to take a picture with people that they've seen, like, growing up. Like, they don't care about this timeline. They really don't. They really don't. So, well, that's where Drunk3PO came to play, and it's like, it just blew up, and it's like, well, I'm stuck with it, so no big deal.
Could be worse.
Could be a lot worse.
It's short, it's catchy, and I've named a drink after it that we're going to get to in a second. So,
nice.
I've got a drink in your honor. But we always go through the like drink holidays around the time frame here at the top of the show. So, Andrea, want to enlighten us?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't want to go back. I haven't been on the podcast for about a month now. After giving birth to my second daughter, so I didn't want to go all the way back to the time frame that like I've not been on the podcast. I didn't want to go through all of that, so I spared you all and just did the past week. But you'll notice something pretty similar, a common theme, if you will, running through the past week. So April 6th, it was New Year's Eve, which is fitting since the following day, 4/7, is Beer Day. Short and sweet. I like it. 2 days later, on April 9th, it was Gin and Tonic Day. And then 2 days after that, King Gambrinus Day, which I had to look up. I know we've talked about it on the pod before, but I always forget. And so he is like folklore patron saint of beer in old country Europe. So,
okay.
If you're like starting to set up here,
is that like a Minnesota thing? You guys like your beer there?
This is
national drink holidays.
Really?
So I'm not even choosing.
I didn't even know about
in
that.
Minnesota. Yeah, I didn't know there was such a thing. But we were kind of, as we started the podcast, we were kind of like, we're like drinking, talking, like maybe we should talk about official holidays, and like sometimes we'll celebrate, sometimes we'll like go rogue and do our own kind of drinking thing. But we just kind of like to run through and see if there's anything fun we like to celebrate. So yeah, if you're catching a theme here, obviously. Jay, you got it. It's beer. And the last holiday that's today is Saison Day, which is a type of beer. So 4 out of the 5 are about beer. So I felt like I had to go
represent. Nice.
I had to represent. So this is this is actually a specialty brew from a local company, Barrel Theory Brewing. And one of my friends actually crafted it with this brewing company. So it's called Hadley J's IPA. And this is the first time I'm trying it.
You're IPA person?
It's good.
We drink real beer here, Jay. We drink real beer here.
I can't. We'll see in Florida. We're just like relaxed, man. We need like Corona. Of course,
Sure.
like
Yep.
it's like you get that IPA. Some of us are like, ooh, man, I can't handle that. We need something like that.
I understand.
Pretty much like drinking water with food coloring in it. That's pretty much what it is. So
well, I can't always do an IPA, but you know, when my friend goes to the trouble of pairing with a brewing company to make one, I figure, you know what, kind of got to go for it.
I agree.
Do I know this friend? Is it Tay or something?
No, it's Ben Bacher.
Okay.
You've met Ben, but not like extensively hung out.
Okay. Jay, I know we kind of threw this at you, but do you have a cocktail on the side there, or just got a glass of water or something to keep you hydrated?
Water with food coloring.
Oh, I'm getting ready to go to Vegas with the G&G crew. And I am been on a strict like hydration. So this is just filled with good old water. Strict hydration till like, because I don't know what it is about Vegas. Maybe because it's just so humid where I live. I'm not used to it. But when I go to Vegas, it is so dry. I literally have to have like, and I'm not the only one, so I'm not alone. I literally have to have like a gallon of water next to me when I go to bed, and I just wake up like dry. Like that desert just sucks the water out of my pores and everything. So it's like I gotta like this will like, I don't know, 7th, 8th time to Vegas. It's like now I know it's like I gotta prep. Like I gotta get this I gotta get this water going because
you got a routine.
Yeah, but if I were to have a drink, it would probably be an old fashioned. That's like my favorite.
Nice.
Okay.
That's like my favorite
Awesome.
cocktail. So if
That
I
is
go
a
out and have
goodie.
a nice steak or anything, it'd be like, yeah, you know, nice little old fashioned.
Yeah, I made it to Vegas for the first time last like December, I think it was. Alan here and myself, one other person went there. And that was I didn't notice the dryness, but it was a good time. We didn't do do you do normal Vegas-y things, or are you always there for something else? Like, do you do the gambling
I'm
and
usually there
everything?
for I'm usually there for like conventions or meetups.
Yeah,
So
cons, yeah.
it like never, ever. I'm just never there just to be there. There's always something else going. There's always something else going on. So
Sure.
usually I take a day and I'll like walk the strip. But like the first time I was ever in Vegas, I stayed at the Luxor, which is the giant pyramid.
Pyramid, yeah.
And I'm like, I'll stay at the Luxor. That's cool. Like I saw that on the movies, and everyone's like, "Don't stay there, man. It's a dump." But I'm like, for me, it was fine. The AC hardly worked, and it's a black pyramid in the desert, so your room is hot. Like it's just how it is. But they tell you, they're like, listen, when the sun goes down, the room will cool right off, and you won't even know it. So but if you stay in and they're like, nobody stays in their room during the day in Vegas. So like, what's the problem? So I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, no problem. So I got up, and the time, it's like the time change. Like right now, it's 9:15 p.m. I'm on East Coast. So then you go all the way to Vegas, and it's like the 4-hour difference. So I was up like early their time. I didn't know what to do, so I said, let me just walk the strip. It's like 7 a.m. their time, and I'm like, all right, let's go. So I'm walking the strip, and no one's really out there. This guy just like gave me some cards. He's like, hey, go. And I'm like, look, I was like, it's like naked people on these cards. I was like, here you go. I don't want that. And they're like, no. And I'm like, I go to the next one, and another guy's a car. I was like, I don't want that. Like, I'm good. I'm just here walking. Like, I'm just like walking and taking pictures. And so people are like, so I come back, and the people that were with me, Ryan, and I was like, here you go, man. Someone gave me all these cards. And he's like, what are you doing with all those? I was like, they just keep handing them to me. I don't know. Well, you can have them. I don't. It was so
he has a collage of them now, like in his place. He kept them all for sure.
I didn't know what to do. Like it's like I didn't know what the proper etiquette was. Like, do I just throw them on the ground? Do I just like they're watching you when you walk away? So it's like, do I just dump them in the trash? But So I just put them in my pocket, and then when I got back, I was like, "Here you go, bud." So
I
feel like
don't
it's
feel
so
like
hard being like a polite person where you're like I'm also the kind of person who would just be like, I can't throw this on the ground like while they're watching. I'm so sorry. So I would totally take it too.
I was gonna say I don't know. You need to worry about the etiquette for them, but
Oh, I would.
that's very kind. Yes.
well, now like my
Uh,
fifth time back, it's like I don't want that thing, man, and they're like,
Right.
okay, yeah, that's like.
Oh man, he's been here before. He knows how to handle it.
Yeah. It's like he's walking like he's been here, so it's like
Not making eye contact,
So there you have it.
staring at the
There you have
ground.
Mhm. Well, I've got a as I said, I made a drink, named it after you. It's
Look
called
at
the Drunk
that.
3PO.
Nice. What's in there?
And so it's all going to make sense. So first thing, adding the first P in the 3PO is Prairie Vodka. So that's a local vodka to here. That's our touch. That's the Minnesota vodka.
Mhm.
There's an ounce and a half of that. Then I have Pimm's. So that's
Nice.
2 ounces of Pimm's, which is English. So that's the
Mhm.
second P. And I think Anthony Daniels is English. So
Yeah.
that's where that one's coming from. And then the third thing is for you, Jay. It's there's people don't think of Florida for wine, but we were in St. Augustine a couple years ago.
Yes.
And they have they have a couple wineries there that are great, and they have a different grape that tastes way different. And so I have this proprietor's reserve, so premium red.
All right.
It's delicious. So that's in there.
I
'Cause it's
love
like
St. Augustine. I love going to
it's
St. Augustine.
great, isn't it? Like we stayed in
Awesome.
a place with kind of a courtyard, and it just really
Mhm.
feels like you can be someplace else. The
Mhm.
Spanish kind of.
It's awesome. A lot of pirate history there too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Jay, you and your pirates. That's right.
I know.
Andrea, if you don't know, Jay has a pirate channel.
You
Right? You still
do.
have a pirate
That's
channel?
awesome.
It's my like get away from the nonsense going on in the world channel where it's like it's just that's like such a that's my favorite channel. I love that because I love history and I love like reading about this and then putting these little videos together. And I have an editor and he does such a fabulous job. And so yeah, I love that channel. I don't push it as much as I probably should, I guess, but it's like that's like my hobby that I just love
Sure.
to
Nice.
do. So I see a lot of my family in the chat from my community over there. Tabitha, Lulu, Wicked Virtue. I just want to say hey to them.
Thanks for
Nice.
How y'all
joining us.
doing? They're like,
So-
I've heard Jay talk so much. I'll just say hi and leave.
Well, I definitely want to stay on the pirate channel for like just a half second here. So do
Sure.
you like talk about like figures? Do you talk about like battles, like historical events? Like what all do you cover there?
A lot. It's just kind of getting started.
Okay.
I remember I think we've got 12 videos on that already. Something like
Okay.
that. Maybe not 12. Anyway, but it was something that I was taking a vacation somewhere. I was out somewhere and I went through I think it was St. Augustine. I went through they have a pirate museum there. And I went through it and I was like, man, I would love to do a YouTube channel like that just focuses on the historical pirates,
Okay.
the Hollywood like everything from
Sure,
ships
yeah.
to military tactics to whatever. And I would just tell my brother and a few others like, I'd love to do it. And they're like, will you just shut up and do it already, man? Like you talk about it so much. What's keeping you from doing it? I don't know. Well, then just go do it. So it's like, all right. So we just did it, and it's cool. Like after I posted my first video on that channel, someone that is in editing sent me an email and was like, "Bro, please, if you're gonna do a channel like that, let me edit your videos because what you put out was terrible." And I was like, "All right, awesome." So I was like, "Here's all the stuff. Let's see what you could do better."
Sure.
And he did awesome. And it's been awesome. Like I got a great just group of people on that, just because we're all just having fun.
Sure.
And then people that are members of that channel, like YouTube members, you know, one of them mentioned, they're like, hey, you know this person, Jay, why don't you get this person to voice one of the stories? And so I'm like, I sent emails out to people, other YouTubers that have like such like a unique voice. And they recorded their episode. I gave them a pirate, and I helped them with the research and stuff. And I love it.
Fun.
Yeah, I love it.
Beardo's
It's
got to
just
be one,
fun.
right?
You can tell, like, I absolutely love that channel. So,
Well, if you ever talk about some entertainment pirates, one of my favorite movies of all time is Captain Blood with Errol Flynn. So if you ever talk about that, let me know, because
I'll let y'all know. I'll let you. Right
love
now,
that.
we got a couple more historic ones, and then I'm working on a video about mermaids and
Fun.
pirates, and then we're gonna do a couple more little like top five Hollywood pirates, top 5 vicious, like a couple things like that. And then I think I'll have a nice variety on the channel. And then like the big one that will take a while is Blackbeard, because that's like
Of course.
everybody knows that one. But that video is going to take some time, because I've already contacted some voice actors, and you know,
Nice.
some like that one's going to be a fun one when we get to it. But it's like I want that, at least that video, to have my full attention. I'll be like in director mode. It's like, let's get the script, like who's gonna read it, let's get this voice, because that is just that's the part everybody knows. So that'll probably be the one everybody be more interested in some of the other stuff. So as you can tell, I really love that channel. So.
That's awesome.
Well, how many years ago was it, Andrea, you guys did pirates for the Renaissance Fair? Right, that was a while ago already, right?
Yeah, at least 7-8 years ago.
You still have full pirate get up, probably, right?
Yes.
Oh, my day is coming. I'll go to the Renaissance Fair fully dressed up.
Oh, it's the best. You have to do it.
Pirates hats, you know, all nice to me.
Yeah.
And I gotta thank, honestly, I gotta thank Star Wars, because, you know, the Drunk3PO channel started as a Star Wars channel, and as they started doing more stuff that I just, for me personally, and not everybody, but for me personally, just became unplugged and not interested in anymore. It's like my mind just went to other things. So it's like I know we're here to talk about Achromatic Chronicles, so like that was a beautiful thing to put a lot of my energy and focus on building my own world. And you know, and you know, like the pirate channel is like something we do for fun, but it's that, I mean, I have to thank Star Wars for that.
Yeah,
in a small way.
Right. I think a lot of people have Star Wars to thank for a lot of things. Like, what was your first exposure? Like, did you see something re-released in the theater or at home? Like, when did you first get into Star Wars? I have no idea what your story is there for how that began.
Me and my brother, like, we grew up in a kind of a strict household. It wasn't, you know, overly strict, but it was like religious strict. And don't get me wrong, I love my parents. And we weren't limited to what we were allowed to watch. But Star Wars was one of those things. I don't know why, they just felt like they could watch Star Wars. So I never got to see, like, you know, the original trilogy, but it was cool. And you know, for Christmas you got the characters and stuff, but the action figures. But it was really what set me off was the prequels, because when the prequels came out many moons ago, me and my friends, this was before like the internet, we went to the theater, and we're all like young college lads, you know, and we went to the theater and we camped out for 3 days with about 100 other people. And it was something I'll never forget that. I'll never forget those 3 days. And it wasn't like, you know, we're all stinking and stuff, you know, like some of it, like, I'm like, hey, I'm going home to take a shower and taking a nap and I'll be back. So like it was stuff like that. And we just had like lawn chairs, and all the people we all like respect. It was people of all races, all genders, all political, everything. Everybody was there. And it was like I said, it was about 100 people at this theater in Fort Lauderdale, and they were reenacting the original movies. We were telling fan stories. We were having predictions, and it was like 3 days of like amazing people coming together and loving something together. And it was like there was no fighting. Everybody knew like this guy's third in line and he's gonna go to McDonald's and buy some burgers. So it's like, yeah, of course,
That's
that's where his line is. We were all getting the
Yeah.
same tickets anyway. That was before like you picked your seat and all that stuff
Yeah.
anyway. So that was better than any Star Wars celebration or anything. I can't explain it. It was just people would leave and come back with like Wendy's cheeseburgers, and people would leave and they would come back with coffee for everyone or donuts, and it was such a cool time. And then we all, we bought the tickets. We came back, I want to say 2 weeks later, and we all watched this film together. And everyone that I remembered was all there, but it was like hugging and like laughing and having a good time. And then many of us came back and saw it again and again. And then we did it again for Attack of the Clones. And then we did it again for Revenge of the Sith. Camped out at this theater, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember you. And like I remember it, and it was such a cool experience. That's why I'm like I'm a prequels person, because of those experiences that people won't have today. You just don't do that anymore. So it was like that was something that I treasure a lot. And so from then on, it was just, and I've never done that for any other film or anything else like that.
Sure.
But the prequels that was the one. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
That's very cool. That's surprising. I mean, we have another friend that's really passionate about Star Wars, and the thing that got him into it was The Force Awakens. And it's just like, I don't let him live it down, but it's always, you never know what the thing is that pulls someone into that world.
Ooh, that's the first time I've ever heard that.
I know. It was just, it's one of those things. Like I was asked, like, am I going to show my kids now, like the sequel trilogy? I'm like, no way, because kids like anything. You can have, if you're a young kid and you put something in front of them and it's like shiny and fast and has cool sounds and stuff, they're interested. Yeah. And so then they automatically have a nostalgic tie to it, and now they like it. So they're not old enough to understand why it's garbage yet. So
I mean, yes,
everybody
and no.
has their on board.
Yes and no. I would say like kids definitely. I mean, they're distracted, by bright, shiny, fast, loud fun, but also like kids are definitely influenced by like what their parents like and what they care about. Because I remember like my dad took me to the re-release of Star Wars in the theaters, and that was like my first exposure for the original trilogy. And like it mattered to my dad, so it mattered to me, and then it was like cooler because we shared that experience. Like I was going to the theater with him, like he was so excited. And so like a lot of the things he liked and then I found myself liking kind of like shaped, my adolescent consumption of pop culture and like the things that I cared about. Like I wouldn't know about Captain Blood if it wasn't for my dad and his like introduction to the collection of Errol Flynn. But I mean, kids will pick up on like what you like. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. But that I'm kind of suggesting that I like this by showing to them. So I'm selectively not showing to them. Yeah.
True.
Well, very cool. Do you what's your favorite of the three of the prequel movies? Do you have one that stands out?
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith was really, I thought that was really, I mean, listen, they have their problems. They have cheesy dialogue at times. But and there's no denying it. But that movie, I don't know. It's like that's Anakin, like turning to Vader, and when
awesome.
like Obi-Wan is like, "You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you." Oh man, it's like that's the line that just You're all in the theater like, I'm not crying, I'm a man. All right, it's just a stupid movie. I don't even like it. But yeah, that was I saw Revenge of the Sith in the theaters. I must have went every weekend until it stopped playing. I can't remember. And then like I think it went to some like $2 theater at the time. They don't do that anymore either, where
Mhm.
it's like they show older releases. I went
Yep.
there and watched it again. I love that film. I love and it's crazy because these are the movies that we can watch a million times, and still enjoy it and still
Mhm.
like what's coming, what's gonna happen, everything. But then like you still marvel at certain scenes or you find something that you didn't find before, you pick up little
Yeah.
things like that. And it's like, you look at cinema today and it's man, it's so lacking in these type of stories that people will watch over and over and over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And it's a real shame, especially when it comes to like Star Wars films, um the sequel trilogy, like the last one, and then like the stuff that's on Disney Plus now. I know like there's such a collection of Star Wars shows, Andor and Mandalorian and Boba Fett and stuff like that, and people are picking which one they like their best. But at the end of the day, a lot of it has like zero rewatchability.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like you've seen it once, and you're like, all right, I saw
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
There's no need to go back and rewatch the entire season. Like, there's no need. But those type of movies, the prequel, the original trilogy, it's like, sometimes when you're just going through the TV and they're on like TNT, you're like,
Mhm.
oh man, Empire's on. Even though it's
Mhm.
like in the middle, you just leave it on. You just leave it
Yeah.
on. And there's a lot of movies that we have that are like that. I know like everyone listening, they probably have their own list too that they could just go back and watch a movie over and over and over again. So.
I think people are too ready in trying to break the mold today, break the wheel, So like these stories that resonate with us, for a reason, because they're kind of following traditional storytelling, stuff that's been done for like 1,000 years, and that have impact for a reason. It's kind of like romantic comedies. Often they get in trouble because it's expected. That's what exact. Of course, that's what happened. But that's what's satisfying for us to watch. There's a
Mhm.
reason it goes that way. And I
Mhm.
think some of these classic stories, they really resonate for that reason. And now they just want to try to surprise you or something.
Mhm.
And I don't know, they don't have an understanding of that kind of storytelling.
I think it takes something really special to be a film that you want to rewatch. I mean, there's so much pressure now with all of the content that's out there to like watch something new and like what's everyone talking about now? What's the show that everyone's watching? It's like if something doesn't really grab you and like really kind of fulfill something as you rewatch it, then it's just so easy to be like, yeah, I watched that. Now I need to watch the 50,000 other Netflix or Hulu shows that are on because everybody else is watching them.
Yeah. I I don't know. It's sad we don't have even Star Wars now as a cultural touchstone. We
Mm.
don't even have like if we're not going to have Marvel, we're not going to have Star Wars. Like there's nothing for a water cooler moment almost anymore. Like it's
That
just
is,
this few and
I
far
have never
between.
heard that. That is a great point. A cultural touchstone. That is so true. I can't remember the last time. It seems like the only time we have water cooler moments now is about like cringy movies or
Yeah.
shows. You're
Mhm.
like, man, did you see that? They put Lizzo in Star Wars, man. Like, what is that? It's like that seems to be the only type stuff that we
Mhm.
talk about now. Now it's like, and then but I take it back. It seems Super Mario Brothers right now is really having
Mhm.
an interesting impact in the cultural sphere as of people saying, people trying to claim it as an anti-woke film, and then this person's trying to claim it as a woke film, and then these people are trying to claim it as, Peach wasn't girl boss enough, and you're like, my gosh, man, it's just a kids, it's like it's just a kids movie that talks about a video game. It's not that complicated, but it seems like because of all the money and popularity that it's generating.
Mhm.
So, oh man, and Nick, yeah, Nick in the chat said Star Trek Picard season 3.
Right.
Everyone I know has been talking about this season, and I haven't seen a single episode because I don't have Paramount.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
but
Paramount's like the
yeah,
forgotten like sibling of the streaming channels, I feel like. I don't know if
Paramount.
I
I'm.
think they're good. They're good though. I have Paramount now. I got it for all the like
I
old
just
sitcoms and stuff, like Frasier and
totally.
everything. I'm watching there.
I just feel like I know next to no one who's like, I have Paramount. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if they do,
No,
maybe they're
I
not
agree.
talking
I
about it as
same.
much.
Same. But yeah, like Picard season 3 has really
Mhm.
that a lot of people talking about
So
that. So
with Picard, it must be this because the issue with Star Wars is that they've destroyed too many things you can't turn back. You can't reverse it. So
yeah.
on Star Trek, I'm guessing then that they haven't broken those barriers. If Picard season 3 is so good and people didn't like the stuff before very much, they must have not destroyed enough of the like lore or characters that are
Mhm.
like impossible to come back if people are liking this so much. Like I have no idea for that, but that because they could. I was just telling my wife today, like they could have the Rey movie could be the greatest movie of all time that's coming out. Like it could be an amazing movie, but it doesn't matter because it can't fix the things you broke already along the way. Like you
That's
can't fix it.
exactly, and that's why you're like, how can this movie be great? Because it's there's nothing that it stands on that gets you excited for. Because as
Mhm.
we saw in the sequel trilogy, they just crushed our Star Wars heroes, Han, Luke, and Leia. And
Mhm.
what is she? What is she gonna stand on to make that movie? Like, what is it? It's like
Mhm.
Right.
there's really nothing, and just pushing her forward 15 years. At least that's what they said they're gonna try to do, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like I don't know. And are they just gonna like hand her off to figure out how Baby Yoda's gonna be in her arms, and like say, look who's
Right.
together, everyone, go watch this
Mhm.
film, and it's just I just
Yeah.
don't see how that movie can be great because like you said, like everything that's behind her has been destroyed. Her even Rey's character is just not even it's like unstoppable, like who could stop her? She's beaten everybody, she can't die, she can heal anything around. Like they made her like god tier, and it's
Mhm.
just how do you make a movie around that? It's
Mhm.
so good
When you
luck.
watch the right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't
I
think
mean,
I
it's
don't
like
think it hurts them to try because obviously they've sunk so much money into this. There's I think opportunity to fix some things, but yeah, I don't know that like you can undo the damage you've already done. I think they can try and heal and go forward, but
It's if they pull something off, I'll be the first one to admit it, but it's like just seeing like what they have to work with and
Mhm.
seeing what they've done. Like every character that we've loved that they touch, from Obi-Wan Kenobi
Mhm.
to Boba Fett to whatever, they just seem to have a wonderful way of saying this character kind of stinks and we'll just do whatever we want with them and
Right.
not care like what was about this character in the past,
Mhm.
like and I blame the writing, that the people that they
Mhm.
surround themselves with. So I don't like my thing. Like we were talking about this the other day. Is like I don't know if they were to get even like classic writers, from old Star. Like I don't know if like
Mhm.
even Lucas got involved. Like I don't know how you make a Rey movie work that
Mhm.
that will bring old fans back. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
That have already left. Now the new fans that like Rey and Kylo and all that, I'm sure they'll go see it.
Mhm.
But is that is that enough people to make that movie successful? If they do release a Rey film, in my opinion, if they do release it, because they announced a lot of films and then they go backtrack.
yeah.
Yeah.
If they do release a Rey film and that thing bombs to high heaven, I personally feel that is going to be the ripple effect that will shock the whole Lucasfilm, and for them to go, we've got to change everything.
Mhm.
I don't know why, because Rey is their creation. Rey is their character. Rey comes from the top. You know, everybody has built this world around Rey. They have built their theme park around Rey. They have built their Star Wars hotel around Rey. They have done all this stuff around Rey, and now Babe Grogu is like, you know, working his way in there. So it's like, if they were to put this movie out and it sucks, you know, and nobody goes to see it and it loses money, I think that will send a meteor shower to Lucasfilm, and either Disney or someone will be like, we got to change, because this ain't it. You know,
Yeah,
we
I think
put all this money in there and this ain't it. So
I think it'll be a great thing, actually. I mean, this movie, I mean, they've announced one movie, which I think is smart. Like, they're not announcing like a
Was it
trilogy.
2 more?
they
Oh,
announced
one Rey
3.
movie. Yeah.
Oh, one Rey.
Rey
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
One Rey movie is what I mean. So
Yeah.
they've only announced, they haven't announced like a new trilogy for her. It's smart that they've announced one movie, because they're like testing the waters. They're like floating it out there to see, like you said, they've sunk all this money into Rey and this particular story. So they're just floating it out there to see if they can save it, I think. You know, which is like not
I
a
think they
terrible
believe,
idea.
but I think they honestly believe that everybody loves Rey.
Well,
And the people that
that's why
don't
if
are
this
bad people.
bombs,
Yeah.
it'll be like that shockwave that they do need to reset and like rethink everything. So I feel like they're just like riding out one last like Hail Mary here to see what they could do, and then that'll be the signal.
It's silly because there's
I
no
agree.
reason that Rey couldn't have been great. Like,
Yeah.
just do the obvious thing. She gets trained by Luke. You know, they actually have some sort of relationship. She has to struggle. She gets better, and then she and Luke can take on the final boss together. Luke sacrifices himself so you know she's able to win final struggle, something. So she has like a journey, a path. When you know, when you're done with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you feel like you've something has happened to you. You've gone through it. When you remember Frodo from the beginning to his state at the end or whatever, like it's hard to even imagine like all the things that have occurred and he's had to overcome. You watch the sequel trilogy, it's just like I don't remember anything. I feel like nothing happened. You know, there's no
You know what
memorable moments with people.
when we talk about the sequel trilogy, we talk about everything that they should have done. You know, it's like, why wasn't Finn a Jedi, and why did this happen? And Luke should have done it. It's like when you hear people talk about the sequel trilogy, it's all about this is what they should have done, not what they gave us.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like you said, there is no moment. If there was a positive, like for The Last Jedi, I thought it was shot beautifully well.
Yes.
But you know, if you watch the space scenes without dialogue, you might have something really cool there. So
I feel like when I think about the sequel trilogy, I feel like I hardly even remember what happens to Rey. Do you know what I mean? Like, all of my like memorable moments from that trilogy are like what's going on with Han, like what's going on with Luke, what's going on with Leia. Like, I was already invested in like what they were going to be doing, and like Rey was just sort of like a means to find out about them and their stories.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, I know broadly obviously what happens to Rey, but like the details are very fuzzy for me because I just didn't care as much, and I just was like, what are my original heroes doing?
I think like one of the biggest issues they had no plan. They're like, hey, we just spent $5 billion on, or 4 point, whatever the exact number is, $5 billion on Star Wars. We just pumped in $1 billion to build the theme park. We need a movie that makes a lot of money, JJ. Just make it. And they're like, even in Bob Iger's book, he was saying, like, when I was talking to JJ about doing the film, he was getting aggravated with me because I kept pushing him. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. So they gave him a deadline to have it done in May. It came out in Christmas, but right? I believe that's what it was. I think did it come out in Christmas or did it come out anyway, they gave him a deadline to get it done, or maybe it was supposed to come out in Christmas and he pushed it to May. Something like that.
Sounds
and
right.
In the book, JJ went back to Iger and said, I can't get it done in the time frame that you want, unless you just want like a terrible film. Like, so you tell me what you want. You want a terrible film, or you got to give me at least 4 more months to get this thing, at least, quality. And so Iger was like, oh, he was mad, and then he gave him the extra time to get it done. So then they let Rian Johnson film a movie, and then they brought JJ back, and JJ's like, I can't stand The Last Jedi, so let me fix everything that The Last Jedi. So basically you had like 2 directors just mad at each other, because like Rian Johnson totally destroyed kind of like what JJ was setting up, and then JJ was like, well, forget Rian Johnson, I'll just put whatever I want. And it was just such a weird thing like that they did. Like when you get to The Rise of Skywalker, it's like this movie is dumb. Like, well, it's just dumb. It just makes no sense. It's like Rey's like, we got to find a dagger. All right, there it is. I tripped over it. Okay. All right, let's line the dagger up with a Death Star that fell in the water that incinerated, in a few movies, but it's still there. It just was dumb. And then it's like, then she goes to Octu and sees Ghost Force Luke. He's like, I don't know how to get to the Emperor. Like, you've always had it in you, Rey. It's in the ship. It's like, really? So you did all that other stuff for no reason? It just was dumb. It just was dumb. So,
well, it wasted too much time undoing things that J.J. Abrams didn't like about The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So like you wasted half of your script time that you like maybe could have made a coherent story, but you can't, because like you have to spend all this time being like, okay, remember when this happened? No. Like we're going to like transform it this way. So it's like, well, that's like a lot of your screen time eaten up there.
And it's like somehow the Emperor has returned. And you're just like, wow.
For sure.
Wow.
We've ranted
that was in the
over the course of the 3 years we've been doing this show. We've ranted about Star Wars over and over and over again, because it's just obvious choice after obvious choice disregarded, constantly. And like, it's just
that's
stunning.
What you talk about with the sequel trilogies. I know. I did a live stream last night, and I had a lot of my friends on, and we were like, look, we've said so much about the sequel trilogy. Let's just start with Mando season 2. When Luke shows up, where everybody was like kind of happy again, to today, like how's it been? And it's like just disappointment after disappointment, with a couple little cool things thrown in, but that doesn't sustain a franchise or an IP or a fan base either,
Right.
So.
Yep. All right.
Indeed.
All right. We should probably talk about Jay's graphic novel. So we brought him on here. I've been supporting a lot of independent comics recently in the last couple of years, and so I'm excited that yours has come along here. Why don't you tell us about it?
Sure. It's called Achromatic Chronicles Blue, and it's a 200-page graphic novel. I don't even know if you would consider it a comic. Graphic novel that tells the story of a young man named John who's trapped in a world without color. And this world is just, he just wants to break free. And in his frustrations of asking questions and trying to figure out why is everything the same? Why does everybody conform to the same thing? He discovers the color blue, and Blue and him have a unique friendship where Blue takes him on an adventure where he discovers his purpose and value in the world that he lives in. So that's the story. I can't give away too much more. It'll be spoilers. So achromatic means void without color, like without color, and then you throw in the color blue. So
I feel like it was made for me. I can really see myself. I mean, I'm looking at the image now. I kind of have the hair. My name is John.
Yeah.
It's
John Quick. Do you see color?
I do. Yes, I do see color.
Yeah, it's Jon, John, but you look like him. I just need you to hold like a blue kickball or something,
Yep.
John will be the real life cover model for the next edition.
It's pretty cool. Like this project is about 3 years in the making, and originally it was supposed to be a giant novel, with each chapter being a different color. So like chapter 1 is blue,
Oh,
chapter 2
sure.
is the next color, and the next color, next color. And we went from like this place to whittling it down and putting this here. And the process was really something. One day maybe I'll just do a whole video and try to get the process down of what we did, and sending it to editors and creative artists, readers, creative artists, authors to read it and help me out. And like,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I spent a lot of my money on. It was like, can you guys see if this sucks, or is it good? Like, what do I have here? And they would send it back with like tons of notes and things that they would do different, and taking all that and putting it together and deciding that we're just going to do a graphic novel. And we broke it down to 6 different graphic novels, and the first one is blue.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, we'll see how the first one does. If it's successful enough, then we can work on the second one.
Sure.
We can work on the second one. And it's funny because comic book creators like Eric July and EBS and others, when they're like, Jay, you made a 200 page? Like, that's a monster. I was like, yeah, it's a big one. This first one is a big one. Well, when I was getting it transformed from a novel to a graphic novel,
Mm-hmm.
the people that did this for me, the one that was in charge of it, her name is Lily. Her name is on the cover. The first one that came back was about 80. I want to say 80 pages or something with an 8 in it. It was like 108 or 88, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through it and I'm like, man, it is missing. It's missing a lot of stuff that I didn't want, removed. So
Sure.
she's like, all right, I'm going to need some more time, Jay. I was like, okay, no problem. So it's like, take all the time you need. Like, I don't know what will happen. And so they went out and they got everything, and I went through it over and over and over. And I'm like, well, we got it done. I think we got it done. So I wanted a copy. Like, this is it here. I wanted some test prints done because I wanted to hold it in my hand to be like, it's done. It's done. And that way, because I'm not like, there are some of the most creative and amazing comic book creators out there that I've met along this journey that have been doing this type of work for several years now. They create their own world, their own comic, they sell it on Indiegogo, and that's how they make a living. And to see what they accomplish, and then to tell me stories of people that have put together an Indiegogo and people fund it, and then they run away with the money, like, and nobody ever gets a product. I was like, since this is my first one, I wanted to make sure people knew that I have the books ready. It's like, you will get your book. So it's like, you will get it. And so like, that was special to me too. And just to hold it, and I sent out a bunch of free ones to school teachers and some others that have read the book. And it's pretty awesome. And I think what I'm most proud about of all this is that there is a tier where you can donate a book. So if you buy a book for yourself, there's also like an add-on where you can buy one for a young person that can't afford it, or that we're going to drop it off at different charities. And I'm thinking around the month of October that we'll take some, and there's a Boys and Girls Club here. I keep getting contacted from different schools.
Mm-hmm.
I got one in San Francisco. I have 2 in California. I have 3 in New York, 1 in Virginia, several here in Florida. They all want books for their classroom, like 4th grade teachers, 6th grade teachers. And I'm like, well, I hope I have enough. Like, I hope I have enough. I will try to get these out, to as many as I can.
Sure.
So it's exciting to me that people see that I put a lot of heart and passion into this, and that I want people to enjoy it. I believe people will enjoy it, but it definitely was geared toward a younger audience.
Mm-hmm.
So And that was done purposely. That was done purposely. So
Yeah, I would say I kind of heard you talk about it a little before, but for people that haven't, like, maybe go into your inspiration a little bit, and why this, and kind of where you came up with the idea and stuff. And
so I was a in classroom fifth grade teacher for a few years, and fifth grade is such a 10, 11-year old, such a crazy age.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the students, and there was one in particular that really stood out, but a lot of the students just felt like they were trapped in, like, I have nothing. I'm not important. I have no value. And I get it. Like, a lot of them might feel that way at that age because, everything's moving around and changing. But still, for me, I was like, I can't imagine what it would be like to wake up every day and feel like I'm not important to the world around me. I have no value. I have no purpose. What's the point of living? What's the point of doing? What's the point of doing this homework? What's the point
Mm-hmm.
of doing this? What's the point of doing that when I am a nobody, when I'm nothing? And so this story, like the whole black and white, I don't want to give too much away, but like the black and white world that he lives in, that's what I was trying to like articulate, of a young person feeling like I'm trapped
Mm-hmm.
and I can't, do anything. And because a lot of it's not their fault, whether they were born in, they could be born in poverty, they could be born in wherever, like whatever it is, it could be
Mm-hmm.
anything. But at that age, it's like, it's not their fault that wherever they're living or whatever they're doing, whatever's going on in their world is a product of like what is surrounding them. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of convey that in these stories where it's like, no, you do have value and purpose. You just got to find it, and you can find it at this age too. And so I was trying my best to kind of articulate those type of emotions and feelings, and put that all together in an adventure story series. So
yeah,
that's the
I
best I
like
could
it. I
do
mean,
without like spoiling it. So yeah.
no, it's great. I think that it's that's something really valuable. I mean, as I remember as a kid, you'd have to go to the school library and you had to pick out something to read or whatever. And a lot of kids aren't going to be interested in anything. I always picked out the same dinosaur books usually or something like that. But if they
Mhm.
can have something that, it's more approachable, like a graphic novel, and something that
Mm-hmm.
to them, like, or Hardy Boys when we were growing up was a thing or
Mm.
whatever, something you could kind of uh, attach yourself to. I think that's great. So I'm happy there's schools are interested, and kids don't have a lot of great role models or content that I feel that is, we have twins now, and I'm super worried about them getting older and like what they will have to watch and read, that will be quality, like safe for them entertainment, and like,
Mm-hmm.
just tells universal nice messages too.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's the big thing that I see today, is that people are looking for something safe for their young people to read, because there's a lot of messaging stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like, I don't know what they call it, agenda stuff. I mean, listen, like, we had, like, you remember those Goosebumps stories back in the day? Like,
Yeah.
everybody
oh
read
yeah.
those books, and
Mhm.
the Harry Potter series, when that came out, every young person had those, and they,
Yeah.
it was just a fun,
Mm-hmm.
amazing story,
Mm-hmm.
that they could get lost in, from their world around them. So, we'll see what happens. I didn't expect what is happening now. I didn't expect to be at almost $82,000 raised through this whole campaign. I didn't expect
That's amazing.
schools reaching out. I didn't expect any of that stuff, and it's been a blessing. And there has been, and I see some of them in the chat now on Twitch. Some of these people have been the most encouraging
Mm-hmm.
people I've surrounded myself with, and when you surround yourself with good people like that, it really, the sky's the limit, because it's like when you're feeling down, like, they always know the right thing to say, and then they're sharing your project, and they're trying, and they're work. It's like they're working for you, but You didn't ask them to, but it's because they believe in what you're doing and they believe what's going on and that they want to and they feel joy. They feel joy doing that. And it's like, I could never thank these people enough, ever. I could never thank them enough. And I think they have been a huge, a huge point in getting this book from where I thought it was going to be to where it is now. So they definitely have. So it's been an amazing journey. We're not done yet. Listen, we're going to shut the book down at the end of April. So if you haven't picked it up, pick it up before the end of April, and that's it. That's it. And I'm the worst Indiegogo comic graphic novel guy ever. You're supposed to have like multiple stretch goals. You're supposed to have all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Anna, that Star Wars girl, saw my Indiegogo before I launched it. And she's like, this is terrible, Jay. Let me help you out. And I have just been blessed with amazing people around me that want to see me succeed. And every time they see more and more books being bought and the number going up, they text me. They're like, man, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of what's going on here. And it's just incredible. Like I said, there are fascinating and amazing comic book creators that do this for a living, that's been doing this for years. And they would love to reach this type of status, and
right.
So I don't take that lightly, that that I'm this high, like that we've made this much on this campaign. I don't take it lightly at all. And so I'm just very blessed, and I hope people, when they get this in their hands, that they enjoy it, and that the young people that get it, and that they enjoy it well. And if that's the case, then I'll take a month and sleep and get to work on the second one, and we'll get the second one going. So it's been quite the journey. It's been quite the journey.
It's available on Indiegogo. Achromatic Chronicles Blue. So you said we got till the end of April to back it. When do you expect to ship? I mean, you have the book in hands. Like, what's the shipping expectations?
So when I finally close it out, which will probably be when I get back from Vegas. So it might bleed into like May 1st or 2nd. I don't know when I get back from we go at the end of the month. As soon as I close it out, it's like we tally up the numbers. I call the printing people and say, here you go. And however long that process takes from the printing place, and then we start shipping as fast as we could ship them out to people. I don't know. I've never done this before. So I'm like, I'll be constantly telling people, be a little patient. Like, I'm packing these things, and I've got, which is still crazy to me, I'm signing a ton of them. So that's going to take some time, and we're going to try to get these out as fast as possible. And then, so it's like, the month of May will be dealing with all that, getting the prints, the limited edition prints, and the bookmarks and stickers and all that other stuff. And then we'll start to ship, and then July, August, hopefully everyone will have their book by July or August.
Okay.
I put July there. It should be a lot sooner, maybe June, depending on the printing company, but I'll be very transparent with everyone who has bought one. And then, just take a break for a month or so, and then it's like October. I'm going to grab some people, and we're going to hit the road, and with all these donation ones, and get them to where they need to be. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. And then it'll be like, if I live through all that, it'll be like probably January 1st. It's all right. Achromatic Chronicles.
Next color. Have you revealed the next color before?
If you got the book, you'll know what's coming next.
Oh, okay.
Right. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I definitely feel like you should document this this journey that you're going to be going on, to like kind of drive around and like drop off all these copies.
Yes, I actually have a channel called too many channels. I actually have a channel called Jaywalking the Planet, and that Jaywalking the Planet channel is a vlog channel. It's like I've been around the world twice over, so like I put a lot of those videos. I put all those videos over there, even if it's like, hey guys, I'm at a weird rest stop. Let's record it. It's like we'll put that over there. It's like my first time at Buc-ee's, y'all. Like here, let's go inside and see. And we throw all that stuff in on that
Sure.
channel. So
perfect.
It'll all go over there. Yeah, we'll record it, and as much as I can, I don't know like what the guidelines would be, because I know like there's a couple children's hospitals that want them with kids like that have terminal ill diseases, and they want quality good stories for kids to read in places like that. And that means a lot that they have reached out as well. And so I might just have to ship them there, and not not going to record kids or anything like that. So we'll see how much I can put on there, but whatever it is, even if it's just like, hey guys, this box has got 10 books and we're shipping them to this place here, and we'll do that. So even if it's like a 15-second video of like, this is where this is going, it'll be on that channel. So we want to be as transparent as possible. So
well, if Chad has any other questions for Jay, now's the time. I'm guessing you're all kind of following him anyways, but Nick is wondering when you're coming to the UK next. Got plans to go all the way to the UK?
If I have sold several books in the UK. It might be cheaper for me to
just go
put them in my suitcase and go to the local post office. I don't know what it's called over there, and just ship them from there, and then go sightseeing. Like it might be cheaper to do that than like, man, shipping from here to like Australia is like $40. That's insanity. I'm like, I was telling my Australian friends, I'm like, don't buy it, man. Like, please, like, that's a lot of money. And then on top of that, some of the provinces or states, whatever they call it, they have to pay a special tax to pick it up from the post office. And I'm like, oh man, that hurts. Like that you're paying so much just to get the book in your hands. So,
I know some people, some like CG people that are looking to try to have a digital version just for those cases. It's like, can you buy the digital file and then you have that as a PDF instead?
I do think a digital. I'm having talks with people on that actually now, but I don't know if it will be available this year. It might be next year, and it might just go on like. Achromaticchronicles.com is a website, and if you go there, it'll just take you right to the Indiegogo. But I was speaking to someone now. If we get to this place, where it's successful and we have the money to build the website and stuff like that, then I might have a digital download of the books there, where they can just click it there and then pay for it on the website and get a digital download.
Sure.
There, but I'm like, let me get these shipped out first, and then I can look into all this other stuff.
Yeah, that's like second phase.
It's all in the works, and the cool thing is, I think you guys might be the first ones to hear this. I was on the phone with someone that is asking about would I ever consider, if they put the money together, if they would consider doing this book into an animation story. So.
Wow.
I was like, well, anything is on the table. So when I'm having a meeting with these people in June. So like they're flying me up to some place to sit down and have a meeting, because I also sent these people a copy of the book early. I can't tell you who it is, but if I told you, you guys would know who it is. Put it that way. And so because I don't know what will happen. I could sit there and be like, nah, this ain't gonna work. So I don't know what you guys are talking about, but yeah, so it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So to see what happens.
Awesome.
My biggest fear is like I send the books out and everybody has them, like, yeah, this story is not good, Jay. And then that'll be like, well, but I did my best, No one could ever say that I didn't give my best, No one could ever say that. So
well, I really feel like, from the way you've spoken about it, you've gone through several rounds of, peer reviewing. So I feel like somebody would have caught the fact that, this is no good by now.
Let's hope so. Let's hope they were honest.
You're so big. It's like George Lucas. No one will tell him no. No one will point out the thing around. Right? It's like, nah. Your friends will tell you. I'm sure.
Good friends will tell you.
There was two people that I knew. Two people that were really close to me that I knew that they would. I know they would be brutally honest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was Jane Theory, and I was like, Jane Theory would not. She's a YouTuber. If you don't know it, she would not lie to me. She will not fanboy. She don't do any of that stuff. And I sent her one really early, and I'm like, tell me what you think. And I think you got something here. I think you got something here. So it's amazing if you sit back and take your time, Star Wars, and write a good story. You know, people are hungry for good stories. You know, it's like, it's amazing that you could win over even the fiercest critics. So if you just put together a good story.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited for my copy. I've got a copy in order, and one's coming to your door, Andrea, too.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We'll both be able to share it with our kids for sure.
Yes.
And all the best of luck, Jay, going forward. The campaign's doing great, and be exciting to see if it becomes animation or the next volume, whatever that happens.
Never know.
Yeah, keep us posted.
But thank you guys so much for inviting me. Is this the closeout?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right, cool. I wanted to make sure I said it. You know, I didn't want to be like, thank you guys for having me. It was a great time. You're like, well, I got a whole nother hour of stuff to talk about. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awkward. That's awkward.
Look, I mean, we could. I like it again. I cut us off in Star Wars. It could have gone there forever. I mean, I got to talk about Harry Potter at some point. That stuff coming out this week. So there's always stuff, but we won't keep you forever. We really appreciate you giving us time.
Thank you guys, man. Best of luck to you guys in your podcast and all that. You know, if you ever have a question about something, you know, we were talking before we went live, don't hesitate to send me a message. I usually will get back to people eventually. So, you know,
maybe we'll try to talk to you in June when, you know, the bulk of shipping work and kind of delivery has been started.
You might just find me in Daytona Beach with a coconut drink, letting it all hang out, and just like my phone buried in the sand for that month. So it might be one of those months.
Sounds
where
like
it's like, whew, you know, and then I'll turn the internet back on to see what people are saying now that they have their books. You know, we'll go from there.
Yep.
So, but no, seriously, anytime, like, you can message me on Discord, and eventually I'm sure I'll get back to you. But
all right,
you know,
well, we thank Jay for coming on the show. Drunk3PO, you can follow him all over the place. We'll be sure to post links. This goes to YouTube and podcast services. We'll make sure we'll have all the links in the descriptions for that, in case you've missed out. Anywhere you can find us, please make sure you leave a review, like, comment, share. Our video version is also available on Spotify if you use them for podcast service. Killing the Flower, they wrote our theme song. Make sure you check them out on music streaming services and YouTube and Instagram. And otherwise, that'll do it from us. That's Popcast on the Rocks, episode 138. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for all the follows and coming in to say hi. And we'll see everybody next time.
All right. Cheers, everybody.